Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Welcome in to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder, as always on the Woodward Sports Network. Got a packed show. Beautiful Tuesday night for the people, man. We're ready to go here.
Oh, yeah.
Broder.
Victory week.
In some Victory week, Bears week. A lot of things happened today as well. A lot of big news, breaking Lions news, some signings, some roster moves. We've got a lot to talk about, brother.
It's a busy week. It's victory week for the Lions. There's things shaping out around the entire NFL. We're getting a better picture of what the playoffs might look like. There are some seeds here to be decided. We got 5 weeks to go. This is a big one.
And
this is a big one.
It's great. Football season's starting to come to a close. Like I realized it a couple days ago. I was driving to work one day and I was like, all right, we're already in college football like championship week.
I know, right?
And then it's like we're already in week 14 of the NFL season. So football is moving. A lot of things are happening though, especially with the Detroit Lions.
Drama.
9-3. So things are gonna, drama's gonna happen. It's like when it's either you're really bad, or you're really good. Something's gonna be going on.
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle, it's more, it's whatever. But now you're at the top, and it's like, all right, we've got a lot to talk about here. We've got a full crew here, though. Me, as always, Booner, Broder, Detroit Lions beat reporter, Jalen in the TD booth. Jalen, how you feeling today?
A little sluggish.
A little sluggish?
Yeah, a little tired.
There's stuff going around, I feel like.
There's something flying around these days. Everyone, drink your water.
Vitamin C.
Take your vitamin C. A little zinc, a little vitamin D. That's my elixir. And we here. Nick!
Oh, yeah. And we got Nick in the sound booth.
You already know the Wings up 2-0. Buffalo on a power play here. So hopefully we can kill this power play and keep it cooking. Big game against Buffalo.
No Patrick Kane. I text.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yep, I text Gentry about an hour and a half ago because I wasn't sure. I didn't see anything on Kane. He said next game.
He's from Buffalo. It's his hometown.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, that would have been sick. Maybe we'll see him in the playoffs. Playoffs?
Hopefully not.
We'll take it.
Yeah, Thursday home opener for him. So that's hype for the fans.
If we didn't have the show, I probably would have gone out there.
Yeah, well,
for sure.
Responsibilities, baby.
Hey, baby, I love it. All right,
you got nighttime.
Breaking news, though. Let's start with this. We're gonna actually talk about this a ton because we already had a segment on injuries and different things going on with the Detroit Lions for 8:15. But the Detroit Lions signed 13-year NFL veteran defensive tackle. Let me see if I can get this, brother. Tyson Alualu.
Alualu.
Former Steeler and Jaguar. He's won some football. I went back and looked. He hasn't got a Super Bowl or anything like that. He's played in a couple playoff games. Just a veteran player at the end of the day, brother. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Is Brad Holmes bringing in vets? I know we do have a segment on that with Brad Holmes, different things. Me and you had the conversation before the show in regards to what Brad Holmes like. What is his vision right now? Because I'm
excited to talk about it.
Yeah, because it's like it's either I don't know what side to go with Brad Holmes right now. I don't know what's going on.
His hand was kind of forced here with the Ali McNeil injury that we'll talk about.
Yes,
he's got to go get some reinforcements on that defensive line. He kind of had to, even if Ali McNeil was healthy. So the fact that he's making moves, I know there's a Cal connection between Tyson Alualu and Jared Goff. Also a Cam Sutton connection. They played together in Pittsburgh. There might be a few other on the team. But, hey, it's another veteran presence on that defensive line. Hopefully we can get some contribution out of him later in the season. He's signed to the practice squad, so my guess is, depending on what type of shape he's in, it might be a week or two, maybe a couple weeks before we actually see him moved up to the active roster. But Tyson Alualu, new Detroit Lion defensive tackle.
Welcome to Detroit. Just a fan in the chat said, Booner, what is the path to a healthier team? When there's injuries, those are the potholes in the path. But I will say this, every single contending team, every single team that's in the playoffs goes through what the Lions are going through right now. You saw with the 49ers, that 3-game stretch where they lost, no Trent Williams, no Debo. And the thing is they lost some players, and they went 0-3 in that stretch. The Lions have lost players throughout the year, and they're still sitting there at 9-3 with the 49ers.
That's facts.
They've found ways to win games, even with injuries. So when they get healthy, we're going to talk about the injuries in just a little bit. When they do get healthy, hey, this might be a scary team. And I'm not just talking about healthy like Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Aleem McNeil. I'm talking about
C.J.
Johnson. I'm talking about
James Houston.
Yes, we're talking about some of those guys.
Aleem McNeil.
Like once we're healthy in week 17, week 18, that's when you can really start to judge this football team, and the Booner path really starts to get rolling.
But you also made a good point that all NFL teams, especially down the stretch, are going to be dealing with injuries, and the Lions have dealt with some and are dealing with some now, and they've managed to get their way, fight their way through it, and come out with some wins. So at least going through some of that adversity, I know we talked about it yesterday in the show, but dealing with that adversity early in the season, it'll only bode well for them as they move to the rest of the season and into the playoffs, hopefully.
And to Freddie Felt, Booner, you should do a Kool-Aid slushie after the Chicago game. This last one, Broder, actually, everyone throughout the whole year, when I've done them, all 8 of them, everyone's like, Booner, it's going to be really cold in the winter.
9.
Not counting this last one.
Gotcha.
I missed 1 week. The second win, I think it was the Falcons, maybe. I did not do one because and after that, people were like, "Where's the thing?" So I started doing it. This was the very first one I did, to where I was like, if you watch the end of the video, I was like freezing, and it hit me. It was the first time it hit me. Like I drank it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be cold. So I'm a little nervous for January when that comes.
The weather's changing, so's the Kool-Aid.
It is. Maybe I will do a slushy one. That's cold. It'll give me a brain freeze for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing here, real quick, I sent this to you, Broder. And Jalen, if you want to throw it up, the NFC seeding percentages. This is interesting. Because the thing to me, this is ESPN Analytics. They have the 1 seed there. They did not list the Detroit Lions. And for some reason they didn't, but the Detroit Lions, they are not mathematically out of the 1 seed.
Right.
Like if you go on FanDuel, they're still...
That was like 9% or something. 6.
Yes, on FanDuel too, they actually have better odds to get the 1 seed than the Dallas Cowboys right now. So I don't know why they just left the Lions off of that. But if you guys notice, they're in the 3rd column for the 3 seed. The Detroit Lions, they're basically favored to get that 3 seed there. So, Broder, anything on that? I feel like we already kind of knew this.
Yeah, well, it looks like the 3 seed's the sweet spot of where the Lions are going to land, which would still mean that they won the NFC North and get a home game to start the playoffs. But that 2 seed's still in range. That should still be the target. And the 1 seed, like you said, it's not mathematically. They're not mathematically out of it. So they just. The best part about this last stretch, the Lions control their own destiny. 3 wins will clinch the division, but they could do more if they wanted to. If depending on what the injury looks like, the roster looks like, they can go for this 1 seed. You don't know. Dallas could beat up on the Eagles. The 49ers could lose one easy. We'll see.
The crazy thing about this as well is, this is wild,
what the matchup could be.
The 5 seed. The Eagles have a 19%. It's just basically the Cowboys or the Eagles. They have a 19% chance because basically this weekend decides who wins that division, but whoever wins that game, I believe, will actually be in the lead for their division, the NFC East.
Yeah, that's wild.
Because they'll be tied, and then I think the Cowboys will have the tiebreaker.
So we don't want the 4 seed.
No, I don't think there's 0 chance we get the 4 seed.
0?
I mean, it's going to end up being the Falcons, Saints, or Bucks who get the 4 seed.
Yeah.
So there's no chance we get the 4 seed.
So I see how it plays out on the back end. What you got, Nick?
Disrespectful that the Lions aren't even, their logo's not even in there with the 1 seed, because the Cowboys do play the Eagles this weekend. All 3 teams could have 3 losses, or all 4, including San Fran as well. And we're just not the only one on the graphic. I don't know about all that.
Something about, I think the 49ers, and I don't know if this is the reason they kept it off, but the 49ers, their NFC North win record would be the tie-breaking win over the Lions as it stands. They've got 7 wins and 1 loss. Lions have 6 wins, 2 losses. So it'll all shake out.
In FanDuel right now, they have a bet on their team to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Eagles minus 125, 49ers plus 155, and then in third, with the third best odds, is the Detroit Lions plus 1,100. The Cowboys are behind the Lions plus 1,200. So if you look at it, Vegas is giving the Lions a better chance than the Cowboys, and I think that's because, like Nick said, they play the Eagles. But the fact ESPN Analytics left them off is kind of a little it's questionable. It's questionable because there is still a chance. You need to get lucky, Broder, but there's a chance.
There's a chance. The path.
Here, a couple more things here. Breaking, kind of the beginning of the path, the Booner path, by the way. First thing, Frank Ragnow, nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year. Obviously, every team gets a nomination. Did you watch the video for him?
There was a video they put out?
They put out a video. It was really good.
I might have just missed. I thought it was a graphic.
It's always, to me, interesting to see some of these guys that win these awards and watch these videos, like what they do to give back to the community. And it's because each one of like these players have a different way of doing it. Frank Ragnow does it through his own foundation of the fishing stuff.
Yeah.
And I know we went out there. I think it was Gabby went out there. I don't know if you did at the time.
I wasn't there. It was Gabby.
But Gabby went out and kind of did a little report on that, and I thought it was interesting. And the fact that he's nominated for the Lions team to kind of go out there and represent the Lions for that award is pretty sweet.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the Frank Ragnow Foundation, it's to promote or to help people and families dealing with grief or the loss of a loved one. He lost his father a couple years ago, and I think that's what kicked off his foundation, and they just continue to do things. And I think it's promoted through doing activities outside, like fishing, which is one of Frank Ragnow's all-time favorite hobbies.
Are you a fisher?
I'm not.
When I was growing up in high school, we moved to like this lake. So in high school, I used to go out and go fishing a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I was a Ken Griffey Jr. fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a Mariner.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't really know what that has to do with fishing, but
Mariner.
I'll take it.
Hey, Griffey.
I'll take it.
Griffey.
Next thing here on the thing, we have Sharon Moore.
Dude.
This is brutal.
I can't believe that I saw that. I can't believe this happened.
So Sharon Moore was up for the Broyles Award, which is the nation's top assistant coach in college football. He lost it to the Iowa defensive coordinator, Phil Parker, after they just beat Iowa, 26-0? So he put 26 points up on Phil Parker's defense.
And he just, happened to fill in for Jim Harbaugh for 4 games as the interim head coach. Win all 4.
The biggest game of the year.
Helped lead the University of Michigan to the #1 seed in the country. Everything was against them. But no. We'll give it to the defensive coordinator of Iowa.
I mean, as an assistant coach, this man went into the game. He didn't have his head coach for the game. One of the biggest rivalries of all time in all of sports, and won that game. And
he should get head coach of the year.
It's insane, man.
I honestly, I don't understand it at all. I would be somewhat upset if you just said Sharon Moore didn't win the award.
Hey, Shane Daniel, defense wins championships. Didn't this year. Not for Iowa.
What's this dude's name? Phil Parker? Not even the best defensive coordinator in the Big Ten. Jesse Minter is. And if not him, it's probably the Ohio State defensive coordinator. I don't know his name, but they have a good defense. I really, Phil Parker, come on, guys. Come on. This NCAA, college athletics is kind of
brutal, man.
It's a freaking joke.
The NCAA, it needs to go.
It's professional sports.
We should start our own organization for the college.
Yeah. Oh, shoot, I thought I had a funny name. It'll come to me.
It'll come back. Yeah, we'll get you. 2 more things here. At 8, let me go. I'm going to go through the rundown here before we do these last 2. 8:15, we're going to get into the Lions injury report. Nothing came out today, Broder, because obviously off day. I didn't see anything unless you have anything. We're going to talk about the Aleem McNeil injury. Some injury guys coming back in the next couple weeks. CD Deuce, James Houston. Obviously the new defensive lineman signing. 8:30, we're going to talk about this Lions offense. There's an interesting tweet that was put out today. I have some stats I wanted to bring here to kind of – we talk about the Booner path. I'm bringing it to you guys here, and we're going to do it with the offense. 8:45, we're going to go into this defense, break that down a little bit heading into the Chicago game. 9 o'clock, we're going to break the rookies down. We're going to talk about Brad Holmes. We said we're going to break about Brad Holmes, kind of give Brad Holmes a little bit of a grade. We're going to do that at 9 o'clock. 9:15, we're going to go around the NFL for our awards predictions and Coach of the Year conversation. Dan Campbell. Some other Coach of the Year people have snuck up on him.
Yes.
I'm actually worried he might not get that.
It's not just D'Amico Ryans anymore.
Nope. There's some people. So we're going to get into that at 9:15, 9:30, and 9:40. We're going to get into our power rankings and then obviously mailbag. Before we hit break, real quick, 2 more things. Actually, let's save this one. Let's just go to AJ Hinch real quick.
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation when that article came out? Literally,
he's selling his house in Birmingham?
Yeah, the condo. And what did we sit up here and say? I was like, I'm pretty sure it might just be that he's getting the house.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big
he's
deal.
upgrading.
And that's exactly what happened. That man got a huge extension. We don't have details on it.
But AJ Hinch signed a long-term contract extension with the Detroit Tigers. It's refreshing to hear that. He is a great manager, and for him to sign on at this point in the journey, in the Tigers' path, we'll come up with a different name for the Tigers' path, but for him to sign on now, it's an injection of confidence in this organization and this team. We get some stability now. A couple days after Jim Leland's inducted into the Hall of Fame, or a nominee for, not a nominee, he's part of next year's Hall of Fame class. We get AJ Hinch locked up for long term. I'm excited to see how long it is or what the deal is, but to have him leading the Tigers, it's a good sign. Good sign for things to come.
Are you a fan of AJ Hinch?
Big fan.
Right,
he's a really good blend of like the modern analytical mind, but also the traditional just baseball manager who manages off of feel combined with the analytics.
Yeah. I just remember there was a point last year where some people were questioning AJ Hinch a little bit in some decision. I could be wrong. I just felt like there was a stretch.
Yeah.
And then now that he's getting signed to a long-term extension, it was like, okay, I'm not sure how, like, I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I did feel that, like, I know some of my cousins are big baseball guys, and I spoke with them at some point in the season last year, and they were like, yeah, I don't know about AJ Hinch going forward. Long
No,
term.
he's the guy.
And as the season went on, I was like, I think he actually might be the dude.
There were some bad stretches. The Tigers were not good. Like they overperformed and still finished however many games under 500. AJ Hinch is one of the top managers in the league. It's a good signing.
Agreed, Broder. This is massive for our young core of players now that they have the stability going forward, because that was always a question. Is Hinch going to re-sign? Because we were a reclamation project for him after the scandal that he did go through. So now that he is fully locked in, it's big for these young players, and especially moving forward to compete for this division.
That was a trash can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's good, too. He's surrounded by Chris Fetter, former University of Michigan pitcher, Michael Bedard, former University of Michigan player and coach. So he's keeping it all in the family. But Booner, you want to tell me about Woodward and Maine?
Woodward and Maine. It is our Woodward Sports Lions Insider Show, hosted by Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, our own,
That's me,
and Detroit legend Terry Foster. Tuesdays, 7 to 8 a.m. and Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. Make sure you guys tune in for all the insider information you need, especially with all these signings, injuries, everything that's going on right now with the Lions. You guys do not want to miss out on that show. Check it out on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
After you check out that, make sure you check out Big Boy. Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The classic lumberjack or Santa Fe Garden. Also, new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Top it all off with a new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. They have it all. They have Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X-Plows, and Salters. Outdoor Equipment Co. has it all. You can buy it. You can rent it. 0% financing. Delivery right to your doorstep. That is at OutdoorEquipCo.com. All right, welcome back, Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports YouTube network. Who was it? Coke on here. They need to mix up the hosts. Could you imagine all of the shows like doing like a scramble?
I think it'd be fun one week.
We should do that for like a day or something.
Yeah.
Like just like pull out of a hat like Booner and Neil, Broder and like Braylon or something, and I could just
like that.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like pull out of a hat and just this is a show you have next Monday. Make sure you're there.
Make sure you're there.
That would be something else, man.
I thought you were.
Have I not done a show with someone here? I'm trying to think.
I thought you were going to read off Koke's comment. Booner looks like his granddad invented the glory hole and had the presence of mind to take it out a patent.
I don't get it, but it's a great one, Koke.
Just let it simmer.
Koke is killing it in the chat today.
Yes.
Hey, welcome back, though, guys. If you guys can hit that like button for us, let's get those likes up here, over 50 here by the end of the next segment. Let's get into this, Broder.
Get into
Lions injury updates. There's some big news going on. Aleem McNeil obviously was placed on the IR today. It's interesting to me as well, is because you did see he got hurt in the first half or even the third quarter, and they put him back out there, and it felt like he was just getting beat up. So I'm interested, and I'll go to you on this at first, and then we'll just start breaking down this injuries and the signings and all of that. Was there a scenario where they shouldn't have put Aleem? Because I saw a couple people talk about this. He's something with his knee, and Tim 20Man said it on the heavyweights that it's like a sprained knee.
It's a knee sprain,
and it's not a long-term issue, but it's a 4-week thing to where luckily it's not a season-ending. Was it something? Do you think that they probably shouldn't have put him back in, especially when you're up, knowing that hey, you probably can get the job done without him?
I don't know for sure. My guess is that whatever his first injury was in that game wasn't serious enough to warrant keeping him out of the game, or they would have kept him out. If they knew it was a sprain at that point, they're probably taking him out of the game. But it could have just been some soreness, something that they didn't realize was as serious as it was, and just that the beating he took over the next quarter and a half that he was in the game may have just worn it down or done something to that knee extra. But I don't know if the two were related, but they got to be related in some way after he had overcompensating with his knee due to whatever the case may be. But they wouldn't have put him out there if they knew it was serious to begin with. So my guess, it was just something that happened, the second injury, or being out there just caused whatever was sore to get worse.
Yeah, so that was just interesting. I saw a couple people on Twitter mention that maybe that was an issue that they should have just kept him out, but I think at the end of the day it was going to end up being 4 weeks no matter what.
Yeah, and
to be honest,
Lee McNeil, you could argue definitely outside of Aiden Hutchinson, like you take him off that line, like what do you do? That's where it's like, what do you do?
To me, all right, Isaiah Buggs, time to get back to where you were last year. Benito Jones, he's been playing well at times. Now you're able to get that opportunity to be that top dog. There's just different guys to where Bahana. Time for him to step up,
yeah.
And then obviously
Tyson Alualu. Shout out Get Good Dad, by the way. Shout out for your first show hanging with us here. He made a good point that I didn't think about. They did the same thing with Brian Branch. They put him back in the game and he got hurt worse. I believe it was the Packers game. MCDC still does some dumb spit. LOL. So it could have been something related. Maybe it was a bad decision. I don't know if we'll ever find out, to be determined. I'll err on the side of that. They didn't know, but
that may be a question tomorrow at the press conference.
Yeah,
that gets asked.
Like how do they how is the decision made to put Aleem? That's a good question. Maybe I'll see if I can sneak that one in.
You can do that because that it is interesting to me, and it's about like. There's these things where all year long they've been very, very good, and Dan's been really good at saying we need to keep some guys out for an extra long period of time, let these guys rest, get back. But that was one to where we even said it on the stream. We kept seeing Aleem get he wobbled off 2 or 3 different times, and you could tell it was his knee because he was walking really, really tough. But he just ended up being back out there.
Yeah.
And at some point it was like, dude, what are we doing here? That's not good. And you know what? It happened earlier in the year too. C.J. Garner-Johnson tore his pec put him back out there, and he played a whole game with a torn pec. Like, did that make it even worse? So I don't know. There's different things like that to think about.
It's not just on the coaching staff, although the doctors, they get paid to make these decisions, but also imagine, C.J. Gardner-Johnson isn't wanting to come out of that game. He's not just going to take a decision like that lightly. So and most players are going to be begging to stay in the game. Go ahead.
No, just a fan is just sitting here spamming the chat with the Booner pass he said to the Pistons winning the game. Don't know if that's going to happen.
No joke. Remember,
that's not a pass.
Remember 2 weeks ago when I joked? It was, I think, the first time it was brought up, the comparison or the question: do the Lions win more games than the Pistons this season? It was a joke when we first started.
It could put. What are they at 2 right now? We have to do the math.
There's 62
I think
games
they're on track
left
for like 7 wins right now.
It's the conversation now is challenging the 76ers' worst record ever. I think they're going to sneak their way into the teens, and this is just an absolutely horrible start, but what are you going to do?
I kind of want them to do it, so then
we want to get a 5th pick again?
So Tom Gore sells the team.
That's not a good strategy.
That's his Booner strategy. That's the Booner path. Lose as many games as possible so Tom Gore sells the team.
I'm glad you're not running the show there. I'm glad Brad Holmes is running the show in Detroit, because they did bring in Tyson Alualu. They signed an offensive lineman, a third-year veteran, or third year in the league. He's a veteran. Matt Farniak, 6'5", 316. He's a guard. Add some more firepower to that offensive line. Add some more depth, I should say. Maybe not firepower. He signed to the practice squad. They released a linebacker, Raymond Johnson. But they also signed, the terminology sometimes in the NFL is odd. They signed cornerback Kendall Vildor to the active roster from the practice squad. He played a few snaps in the Saints game, so he's technically on the practice squad, came up to the active roster. They're doing that again. So they're adding reinforcements to the offensive line, the defensive line, and the secondary.
They are. Okay, this is where we're going to go with this. I'm going to start changing the subject here a little bit.
Let it fly, Boone.
We have 5 minutes left in this segment. We spoke about this before the show. We had a great conversation on this. Brad Holmes, what is he doing right now? And I'm in this. If you guys could see inside of Booner's brain right now, it's just like 100 different Booners running around trying to figure out what Brad Holmes is doing. Because other contending teams like the 49ers, the Eagles, they're making moves. Shaq Leonard, the 49ers just signed Logan Ryan to help in the secondary. There's rumors that Zach Ertz is going to sign with one of those teams. So they're sitting here like these teams are making moves. They made moves at the trade deadline where Brad Holmes didn't. Brad Holmes is making moves in free agency right now, but it's not the moves that these contending teams are doing. And typically, like when you do look at it, Broder, yes, you need some reinforcements like Aleem out. You need the offensive line. You need reinforcements. But he's still, he's in this middle zone right now to me, and I can't quite wrap my head around it, to where Brad Holmes is making moves to where it shows that he does want to make sure we're able to contend in a way, but he's not doing what the 49ers and Eagles are doing on going out there and getting pieces that for sure can affect your team and help your team kind of push forward. So to me, it feels like you're in this middle ground to where it's like, does he feel like we're contenders, or is he just getting guys just to get by? And I can't figure out which one it is. In the first one, obviously, was Bruce Irvin. And it was like, all right, 36 years old. And then Bruce Irvin went out there and got a sack and had that 11-snap stretch to where he just went insane. So it's like, okay, maybe he is making an impact. And it's the same thing with the D lineman here. Can you pronounce that name again?
Tyson Alualu.
Alualu. And the same thing with that. I'm going to get that name down.
You will.
Just like
Halapulavati Vaitai.
Halapulavati Vaitai.
No, it's tricky. I think there's a little bit. That was pretty good, actually. Nice. It's tricky to try.
My brain is like wrapped a little bit like the Booner path right now just has saran wrap around it. And I'm like, what is Brad doing?
Yeah. You know the movie 21 where the guy, I forget the main character, there's all the things popping around his head. It's spinning around the 21, the blackjack. Anyway.
Yes, great movie.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah. Phenomenal. But so these moves that he's making, they aren't exactly splash. It's not. You're not getting Chase Young. You're not getting Montez Sweat. The splashes that a lot of us wanted. But the moves are maybe the upside isn't there for the other guys, but there's little to no risk in signing these guys. And you can almost make the case that at its worst, these are just two veterans that may not contribute on the field, but their experience will help guys like Aiden Hutchinson, guys like Ali McNeil, guys like Benito Jones coming up, younger guys. At the very least, their veteran presences to help them get to the next step of their career. Whether that happens this season, that's the real question. How much? What we saw to Bruce Irvin in the first game in those 11 snaps, that is pretty nice. That's more contribution than I thought we were going to get out of him, at least up to this point. Are you going to get anything out of Alualu or what? They're not guys that are going to put you over the top and like, all right, Lions are Super Bowl favorites now, but they're pieces that can help in a variety of ways. They're just not the sexy ones, the spicy ones, those moves that we wanted Brad Holmes to make. So what is Brad Holmes' strategy? Does he think they're still a contending team? Does he think they're really not there yet, so let's not waste our money, let's not spend it all in one place this season? Or does he think, hey, we got a roster that things fall a certain way, they can contend, things could happen. If we get home field advantage for a round or two, hey, weird things can happen on a football field. So they have a roster that can make a splash. They can do some things, but I think he was playing it conservative while still building for the future, just not wanting to mortgage anything or give up anything to affect what he can do this offseason.
And Shane D said it in the chat here in the Woodward Sports chat. Holmes' plan was for next year. I believe we exceeded expectations early. Next year will be the build and full engage. So I do agree with that to a point to where I think it's pretty obvious that the Lions are ahead of progress. Like year 3, I don't think anyone expected the Lions to go out, fully win a division, win 9 games already, and be 9-3, and kind of doing what they're doing and competing for a 1 and 2 seed. Don't think that was in anyone's kind of bingo card for the Detroit Lions heading in, or at least last year, heading into the year. Felt like a lot of people did. But when you are in this position, and me and you, Broder, we say it all the time. It's like, hey, if you're a top 4 team in your conference, you're going to have a chance to go make a push. Yeah. And then obviously, to me, what gets me a little nervous is some of these contending teams, they're pulling away a little bit. And you can clearly see that.
You can feel it with the 49ers.
The 49ers. And then when they just keep adding pieces, that you can feel it then. Like you could feel it on the field and watching them play on Sundays, but then when they add pieces and they go out there and make moves and trades, you're like, okay, you can feel it pulling apart a little bit more. I'm not saying that there's no chance for the Booner Pat's still alive. Not saying there's not a chance for the Lions to go out there and compete still, but it's like, hey, you're going to make it harder on yourself. Next year, though, that's maybe the year where we have to turn it up a level. You go in free agency in the offseason, bring in some dudes. You draft more pieces. Yeah. Then the trade deadline next year, if you're sitting there at 9 or whatever it was, 8-2, what were we, 7-2? Then you go get your Chase Young. You go get those, and I do see that. Like it does make a little bit like easy, and then Booner, you're slappy from this year, saying you could still go win a Super Bowl. I am realistic at the end of the day, but there's still, like, if you're a top 4 team in your conference, you still have a chance.
Let me speak on that real quick, just to that point, Booner. That's why, I mean, we're just going to keep re-harping on this, but that's why giving up one of those third-rounders, I would have been okay with it, because to compete with those top 4 teams, you kind of have to have, like, a good pass rush, or you're never going to make it in this league. But everyone's saying it goes into next year. But what happens when you have to give Goff that big old contract? There goes a lot of your money at the same exact time. You know what I'm saying? So you can't always play the next year game and card. I know a lot of people in the chat, specifically Tim, is always saying, don't push your chips in for next year. We have 2 third-round picks that aren't even playing in Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker currently right now. I would have been willing to give up one of the third-rounders.
Yeah, in the NFL, like, there is that argument where you can say, hey, when you have a chance to win, you go do it. But at the same time, the Lions have done a good job building through the draft and building a real organization like some of these other big-time teams that have done it consistently. Let's hit break, though. When we do come back, we're going to talk about this Lions offense. Nick, to your point a little Jared Goff, because Tim Twentyman did talk about that as well. I'm going to tell you guys, though, Lions post-game show. Make sure you guys tune in directly after every single Lions game with Maz, with Stick. They're going to be breaking everything down, whether it's a win or a loss, drinking some Kool-Aid, taking calls, whatever you guys need for a Lions post-game. You guys want to tune in on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Broder?
Yes, winter is here. And if you're dreaming of a new home and feeling the pinch, we got some fantastic news for you. Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Here's the deal. When you work with a Mark White and Associates realtor, they'll pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right. Buying a home just got a whole lot easier. Imagine having an extra $5K in your pocket this winter. They got years of experience and a commitment to making your dreams a reality. This incredible opportunity won't last forever, so call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242.
At work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Just in time for football. Cannabis is dropping a new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in the honor of Detroit football. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you're missing out. So smooth. Find them at Dispo Dispensary for 25% off, or check them out online at www.canna.com.
Back Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder, as always on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you guys haven't yet, hit that like button for us, share the stream, tell a friend about it, send a couple texts out right now. Let them know Woodward Nights is on. Maybe we'll get a couple more people tonight watching the show. Some new people in the chat. We have a good family, good a lot. We have some good people in the chat here.
Let's shout them out.
All right.
We got Nicholas Duncan, Peaceful Tim.
Yep.
Who you got?
Shift God, Freddie Felt, Ryan's Reaction. Yep. Just a Fan. Coke has been on fire today, by the way.
He's been all over.
The Heavies used to do a thing to where they had a chat winner at the end of every show.
Really?
They would do a top 3 or top 4 and then put a poll in. At some point, I want to do that with some of these because we've had some loyal listeners. Peaceful Tim, like
Steve Lehman, Coach Walk.
Phil, like we've had some loyal
people.
And
Shane Daniel who shouted us out. I think the note went away, but he was like, "This is the best show on the network. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you all.
We're trying over here.
Just like I appreciate Ben Johnson.
Yes, and this
offensive
one
wizard.
of the best.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Offenses in the NFL right now. This segment we might go over a little bit, Broder. I'm just going to throw it out there real quick because I have a lot of stats on this one. We have a tweet here. And Jalen, if you want to throw that Detroit Lions PR tweet up, this is, I did see some people share it already throughout shows today, but this to me is extremely interesting what this Lions offense is doing right now. And it's very, very surprising. You see it up there. So far this season, the Lions offense, they rank first in 20-plus yards, yarded plays, 64, second in yards per game, third in yards per play, fourth in rushing yards a game, fourth in passing yards a game, fourth in rushing average, fourth in rushing touchdowns, and then there you see it, 6 in points per game. Broder, I think a lot of people are starting to get caught up a little bit in two different things. One being how bad this defense at times has been, whether it's the defensive line, the secondary, whatever it is. I think a lot of people get caught up in that. And two, that 2-game stretch of Jared Goff, I think a lot of people get caught up in what he's done in that Ravens game as well.
Yeah, a lot of people, some.
Yeah, and
not us.
And if you open your eyes a little bit, and you really look at what this offense has done, not just this year with those stats, to end last year, they have been elite. They have been on another level. When they've needed responses, they've done it. When they needed to take the lead, they've done it. When they had the lead and they've done it. They've consistently done it. There's been games here and there, but they've been Jared Goff has been consistent. As much as people hate to say after those 2 games,
I don't hate to say it. Jared Goff he's been great for the Lions for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, and this offense has been great. I'd actually, bold statement or not, I'll take this offense against any offense in the league. I'll take about 15 other defenses first, but I'll take this offense versus any of them. And that has a lot to do with Jared Goff, but also has to do with the offensive line. It has to do with the weapons. You got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's your number one, who's a very unique number one.
Yeah.
With all these pieces, I could keep going, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, but with these pieces, there's got to be something that brings it all together. Ben Johnson can do all he can, calling the plays and building the game plan, but you got to have someone deliver him the ball. You got to have someone make the right decisions at the line of scrimmage. That includes on 3rd and 7, seeing two safeties really deep and having, oh, wait, I'm just going to give it to David Montgomery on 3rd and 7. We're going to get the 8-9 yards. That's Jared Goff. And that's the confidence that this coaching staff has pumped into him. And that's what I think is making this all go. It's not all just because of Jared Goff, but without him, this offense is no bueno.
And this is the thing, too. Heading into this year, and this is where I don't get where people kind of fall away from the Lions recently being 9-3, and they're like, I don't know about this team right now, is heading into this year, you didn't know what Sam Laporta was going to be.
No.
You were sitting there last year, you had basically a 3 tight end system. You didn't know Jamal Williams. We know what Jamal Williams is. He's not a great running back in the NFL. He's a solid backup, but he's not a star running back in the NFL. So you were rolling with him last year with the hurt DeAndre Swift. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you had some of these secondary guys, like no JMO basically. So last year, you were able to put that 8-2 stretch together and have one of the best a top 5 offense with those pieces. Then heading into this year, you didn't know what Sam Laporta. You didn't know what Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be. You didn't know what JMO was going to be. You didn't know what some of these pieces were going to be.
Yeah.
And things switched very fast to where Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs, in my opinion, valuable running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
And David Montgomery is an elite running, like an elite back, like just bell cow back.
They're so good together, too.
Yeah, Sam Laporta, a top 3 tight end in the NFL right now. JMO is starting to come on and starting to show what he can do. One of probably the most explosive players in the NFL.
Yes.
So, to me, and you have the best offensive line in the NFL, even with the guys hurt. So to me, it's like, hey, if we're talking contending, if we're talking this and that, this is where I started to bring stats up, and I started to look at previous years, and I'm like, all right, can this offense put the Lions team on their back, put this defense on their back, and go still contend for a Super Bowl, go contend for the NFC? And I came up with some stats here, Broder. I went back to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the last 7 Super Bowl winners. And I just looked at where did they rank on offense and where did they rank on defense. And I was shocked. Just looking at the last 5, and you guys are going to be just as shocked as me. The Chiefs last year, they were the number 1 offense in the NFL. Currently, the Detroit Lions are number 2. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they had the 11th ranked defense in the NFL. And this is all by yards per game as well, by the way.
Okay.
Year before that, the Los Angeles Rams, they had the 9th best offense in the NFL in the regular season. They had the 17th best defense in the NFL.
Wow.
The Bucks the year before, the 7th best offense and the 6th best defense. The Chiefs the year before that, number 6 offense, 17th defense in the NFL.
Wow.
And then one more year before that, the New England Patriots, the 5th best offense, and guess where their defense was?
20s?
Number 21.
Wow.
So this is where, to me, and I get there are some players on some of those teams, and with the Lions, you're going to get some of those players back. James Houston, C.D. Deuce. You're going to get Aleem McNeil. Guys are going to come back. To me, this offense alone has the potential to put it if they're at full speed, if they're running on all cylinders. I'm telling you guys, like some of you might think I'm crazy. This offense alone may be able to help this Detroit Lions team stay alive in the playoffs.
Without a doubt.
And if this defense can hold their own at certain points, and the Lions offense is at that number 2 that they've been in the NFL at some points this year, I think there's a chance they can go out there and they can go beat a Dallas in Week 17. There's a chance where they, in the second round, they end up matching up with an Eagles team, and they're in a shootout with Jalen Hurts in that Eagles offense. And same with the 49ers, they're in a shootout. Like, I don't think that's completely out of the realm to happen. That's why I wanted to have this.
No, I love that. I didn't think about it. You just sort of assume that past Super Bowl champions are probably top 10 in both categories or top 15, but to see some of them with mid single digits and then their defense is mid-teens to the 20s is wild. It's 100% an offense that can carry them through the playoffs. You do need a defense, and that will make the path easier, but this offense is as good as any. And I truly believe, and I didn't believe it at the beginning of the season, if you lost Amon-Ra St. Brown, like, would this offense still be able to keep up? I think they would. And I don't mean to diminish the importance of St. Brown, because that takes it to another level. But we've shown when single pieces are pulled out of this offense, pulled out of this team, they've been able to make it happen with those guys out. I don't trust San Francisco if they lose Debo, Christian McCaffrey, or Trent Williams. If any of those three guys are out, I'm not intimidated by their offense at all.
Yeah,
they're a different offense.
The Lions have proven that guys can go out and they still keep going.
Yes.
Other teams, like the 49ers, lose a dude, they struggle.
Yes.
And it's the Eagles. If they lose A.J. Brown, or if they just lose one big piece, they're going to struggle. And I think the Lions, that's where it comes down to. It's like there's still that chance. And with this offense, like these stats that I've given out, these teams that have won Super Bowls, I mean, 4 of the last 5 teams to win a Super Bowl, their defense was ranked outside of the top 10.
Yeah. That's impressive.
4 of the last 5 Super Bowl
Wild.
winners, their teams are ranked outside of the top 10 in the regular season defense.
Wild. And we've seen there might be the time with a weaker defense, there might be a time where you have to rely on your offense, whether it's late in the fourth quarter or a comeback in overtime. And to me, this offense can do it. I think they would have beat we can't play the hypothetical games, but I think they would have beat the Seahawks if they got the ball in overtime. And I think we'd be 10-2 in that case. We can't go backwards, but this offense, they can move the ball. They have so many. They have so many opportunities. They have so many weapons. As long as that offensive line is what is it, 80% healthy, you're not missing 2 of the big pieces, I have no concern on offense. The concern's only on defense.
I do, real quick, too, Tim Twentyman, when he did go on the heavies today, he mentioned Jared Goff's contract.
Oh.
And he did bring that up. And I thought, and Easy, if you're watching, I saw you in the chat, I thought it was very, very funny that what got brought up did on the heavies, because they're obviously the Jared Goff. They love Jared Goff, if you didn't know. The heavies do.
Oh yeah, they love him.
They love him. No, but
I want it.
They did ask him about the contract extension, if it's going to happen, and Tim Twentyman was like, he's very well. It's well deserved for Jared Goff to get a contract. He is top 5 in almost every quarterback category, and and he said, I do believe that there will be a contract done in the offseason.
Wow.
And that's a guy that's
Tim Twentyman
works for the Lions. He is in the building every day. Like that is his daily thing, is being around these guys.
Yeah.
So he has a good idea.
We'll keep talking about that. If not next segment, we'll talk about it more. But the Wings. 3-0. Let's go. It looks like a goal from Mo Sider.
Mo Sider getting on the board. These Wings remain hot. I just saw the stat. They've won 5 of 6, and they're going up in their division against Buffalo, taking it to them on their home ice before the Patty Kane debut on Thursday. Let's go.
I love this team.
Mo Sider, baby.
Shout out.
Mo Sider. Should we go to break and pick this convo up on the way back?
Yeah, when we do come back, we're going to actually flip sides of the ball.
Some defense.
We're going to talk about how this Aleem McNeil thing is going to kind of affect this team. Maybe a little Sioux talk.
This is why we might be able to connect the golf conversation, because there's a lot of money involved. Maybe not in Sioux and some of these other signings, but we're talking about these rookies. We talk about investments in this defense. A $50 million contract to a quarterback is tricky.
Very
tricky. But should I tell them about Feldman Chevrolet?
Feldman. Bought a car from them.
Yep. Me too. Blazer.
Beautiful car.
Blazer.
Equinox over here.
Come on. A red one? Like the Red Wings? No, but Feldman, since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast and convenient first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. They got 18 locations, so there's got to be a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Just visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. And check out Woodward Sports. The morning shows, both of them, Morning Woodward and Big D Energy, are there every other Monday. Check them out. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
And then
Booner.
We're talking defense when we come back, but if you guys want a great defense, it is Guardian Alarm. They have customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians, they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. That is 24/7 professional monitoring. Give them a call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian Alarm team member, they will stay on the phone as long as needed. That is technology backed by people, where your safety and security deserves technology that has been proven to work.
Proven.
And people who have been proven to care.
Proven.
Call that number.
100. Break.
Brace yourselves, Detroit, as the sun begins to set. 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's hot chicken sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has been providing Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, dry-aged beef, and Wagyu beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Just visit their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks or order online at fairwaypacking.com.
All right, welcome back and welcome into the Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel or woodwardsports.com, whenever you're watching it on. If you guys haven't yet, hit that like button for us. Smack that like button. Let's get to 75 here before 9 o'clock, before the second hour of the show. We teased it a little bit. The defense, and I keep seeing it in the chat here. I see a lot of people putting Sue. And in Full Slate Farm said Sue, 36 years old, Irvin, 36 years old, and Alulu is Alulu.
Booner.
Say it real quick.
Tyson Alualu.
Alualu is 36 years old. Hey, they're all contracts that will be ending this year. They're rentals.
Yeah.
36-year-old rentals.
It helps the insurance package that the Lions get from their insurance carrier.
Yeah, man.
It's the AARP discount.
They need it, and I think the Lions at one point were like one of the youngest teams in the league.
Yeah.
So they're just boosting that up a little bit to show they have a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening. Come on, man. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this defense then, Broder. I'm going to go to you first. Aleem McNeil obviously is now on the IR. They signed Alulu, and then now they're bringing in, hopefully you would think, and Tim Twentyman touched on it as well. They did talk about Ndamukong Suh to Tim, and he said he felt like he would have already been signed at this point with the Lions if that was a thing. But he hasn't signed with anyone, and he hasn't visited with anyone. So I think there's still that thing out there to where I don't think Brad Holmes is done building this defense for the postseason.
I don't think so either.
What is your trust? I'm just going to do this, 1 to 10. And everyone in the chat as well. We talked about the offense. I think I'm giving them like a 9 out of 10. Trust level with this defense in the playoffs. If, and I'm going to put this in there, if they get CD Deuce, if they get James Houston, and Aleem Neal comes back. Wow. Right now, if those guys return from injury into the playoffs, what is your trust level with this defense? 1 to 10.
It's at a 6.75 to 7. With those guys back. And the only reason it's not an 8 with all those guys back is because James Houston wasn't exactly lighting the league on fire at the start of the season. He was great at the end of last year, and I still have some high hopes for him. But you never know how he's going to recover from this injury. Will he be able to get back to what we saw last year after the injury at the end of the season, headed into the playoffs? That's the question mark. And that pass rush, man, CD Deuce was going to help a lot because that secondary has been exposed the last couple weeks. He would help a lot, both being a ball hawk, going and getting takeaways, but also being able to fill in at cornerback if needed. He can play all the secondary spots, so that's huge. And obviously, Aleem McNeil's by far our best interior defender. So that would be a very good thing if we got them back. I'm just not sold yet. Does the pass rush get that much better? What's in the
Jeff
chat?
in the chat. Shout out Jeff for tuning in here. Appreciate you a ton. He said Bohanna makes it 11 out of 10. I think Bruce Irvin makes it a 12 out of 10.
Who knows? You never know what you're going to get out of Bruce.
No, you don't. But here's some numbers for you. With all these guys back, God Hates Cowards, 7 out of 10. Cam Boyer, 8.5 out of 10. Shane Daniels, 6.5. William Vanderswag said an 8. Daniel O said 6.5.
Cam Boyer 8.5.
Cam Boyer, he said 8.5 a few times now. Super Scion Lion said 7. You know what? I would take this, to be honest. I'm for sure, if the Lions offense, like we just had this conversation, if they can carry this team in the playoffs, this offense being the top 5 offense, and your Lions defense gets you a 7, like if your faith is 7 out of 10, all these guys return, I would love that, especially to make a run at a Super Bowl. I would love for us to have that faith of a 7 out of 10 of a defense, guys returning and being that full, and this offense and Ben Johnson. Give me that.
Yes.
Nick.
Yeah, I think everyone's sipping way too much Kool-Aid.
7 out of 10, bro.
Everyone's getting slammed on the Kool-Aid.
Buzzing.
And I'm not taking a drink of it.
Oh.
In this scenario, I'm at like a 4.5 out of 10.
If those guys return?
Even if those guys return, the way they've looked recently, like Broder said, the spot to James Houston, we don't know what he is yet this year. We all want to think he's the elite sack guy that we saw at the end of last year when our defense was getting those takeaways and looked dominant. But we haven't really seen that as much this year. Last week was a great start with the 2 turnovers. If we can keep that up, then my number will go up, having faith in this defense.
All right.
Got to keep turning the ball over.
Bryce Bennett, Woodward Sports Chat. Appreciate you tuning in, Bryce. He said 7.5 is not a Super Bowl team defense. Again, Bryce, I'm going to give these stats that I gave out last segment. I don't know if you were here for the last segment, but 4 of the last 5 Super Bowl winning teams in the regular season, their defense was ranked outside of the top 10 when it comes to yards per game given up. 4 out of the last 5 Super Bowl teams. 11th, 17th, 6th, 17th, and 21st. So I don't think you need a 10 out of 10 defense to go win a Super Bowl.
You don't.
Don't think you do.
You don't. If you're going to struggle, and this is a great point that God Hates Cowards wrote. Goff has shown, and I'm going to put it, he says Goff will say the entire offense, led by Goff, has shown that they can run the clock down from 6 minutes left if they're leading. Victory formation wasn't a thing until this year, which is so true. We now have an offense that, when time's running down at crunch time, they're able to control the ball at the end of the game. They were winning against the Saints. It's happened at least 5 or 6 times this year that they've been able to go into victory formation. What that means is that the duel at the end of the game between offensive coordinator and offense and defensive coordinator and defense is being won by the Lions. They're using their running game and they're using their passing game that includes Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Josh Reynolds. They're figuring out, and that's a huge key, especially if you have a defense that's struggling. How are you going to be able to keep the ball out of the hands of the opposing offense in the playoffs down the stretch?
Yeah, and I'm going to keep doing this. Bryce, again, this is a battle. We're having a Bryce battle. He said, and we're at 20. Correction, the Detroit Lions are currently at 14th.
Ooh.
So yards per game given up, defensive total, they're at 14th right now. So that is, I'll correct you on that one. I'll make sure that we do have facts, because right now that would be ahead of the 3 of the last 5 Super Bowl champions that they would be ahead of. And I know if you do watch the game, you still get that feeling where there's a guy, like, you still need that extra juice. You need that bump. We don't have it. But when you do, you're at 14th right now, and when you do get these guys back, that could easily go up to the top 10.
Yeah.
That can easily move up. CD Deuce is a huge piece. James Houston is a huge piece. Aleem's going to be a huge piece when he comes back.
Do you think, Booner, Broderick Martin's going to be a huge piece, or going to be a piece for this team this season or the playoffs? What's your gut tell you?
Broderick Martin? I don't think so. I don't think it's, I think he'll make a little bit of an impact. But like Tim said on the heavyweights, it's, hey, this team, like, they might have drafted Broderick in regards to let's just
He's a
build
developmental.
them up. Let's build them up. And that's how it felt. And we had this conversation before the show to where it does feel like a couple of these guys they did draft in regards to that. And Broderick didn't play at like a high level in college either.
No.
So it's like he's still kind of getting into this. There are times where he was out there and he made a little bit of an impact, which is good. But I don't think he's going to be like a huge piece on a team that's going to make a run, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that maybe it is time for the discussion. And as we lead into the rookies, I want to focus on the third round, the picks of Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker. But before we get there, I think what's hard for me to grasp, Brad Holmes, he wanted a DB. He was going to draft Devon Witherspoon if he was there. He signed Emmanuel Mosley. He tore his ACL 2 snaps in this season. they didn't go out and get a defensive back, a cornerback. They haven't gone out and addressed a top-line defensive tackle or a top-line edge rusher outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Like, what is the plan? Like, what was the plan this season if they took Broderick Martin knowing he really wasn't going to contribute this year? Like, we all thought he was going to be in there more than we've seen him. But if they knew that they were going to develop him this year and he wasn't really going to make an impact, your third round, you spent 5 picks on 2 players who aren't going to play this year.
Yeah, that's where I get to this point to where, and this is my feeling with Brad. Like, look at the 49ers. Like, they've drafted almost every guy they have, besides Christian McCaffrey. They've gone out there and they've built that team from the ground up, and they've done a great job at doing it. The Eagles have done it to a sense as well. Like, these teams that have been consistent for years and years and years, they've drafted, and that's where I kind of get this feeling with Brad. And I know it kind of sucks when you look at it like you move up to go get a Broderick Martin, and you move up a few rounds to do that. And I know it, like, right now it's like this might not work. Like, but I think in the long run. And I think the way that they've been building this organization since Dan and Brad have came in and Sheila's taken over is they're looking at this like, we don't want to just go out and pay for a Super Bowl. Like, we want to go out and we want to build the right organization the right way, like some of these teams have, and we want to go win multiple Super Bowls. And I don't know if anyone else gets that feeling from this front office and this team and kind of what they're doing. That's what I get it. And when you look at it, like, next segment, we're going to get into these rookies. The way they're drafting some of these rookies and the way that Brad Holmes has been drafting and saving draft capital and being very, very smart when it comes to money, it makes me believe that they're like, hey, we want to build and I'm not going to say that saying that this is what they're building, but they want to build a dynasty. Yeah. That's like their end goal. And not a lot of organizations have that goal because it's such a patient game. So that's where I feel like with the Broderick thing, with the Hendon Hooker stuff, they're starting to get to that point to where Brad's like, hey, this is how we're going to build it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just so happens I'm all in on the Brad Holmes strategy, whatever it is going forward. It's just at this point in time in the season when they're lacking pass rush, they're lacking that defensive line, they're lacking depth at cornerback. You start thinking, man. And we're talking Jared Goff contract extension. That could mean they drafted Hendon Hooker and he never plays a snap with the Lions.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
49ers, how many quarterbacks have they drafted and didn't play a snap?
Yeah. Patriots, they could use them.
All of that.
Red Wings,
another
baby.
one. Come on!
Another one. Their 4th goal of the night. Michael Rasmussen, assisted by Gossavir and Petrie. And this is their 16th game with 4+ goals, most in the NHL this season.
Wow.
Let's go.
Boys are buzzing.
Let's go.
I love it.
Buzzing. Right. Tell them, boom.
Let's hit break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about these Brad Holmes draft picks and kind of the future of this football team. But let me tell you guys about Planet Fitness. It is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of that for just $10 a month, no commitment. Make sure you guys check Planet Fitness out. They have hundreds around the Metro Detroit area and thousands around the world. That is Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like a landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss Exit. Join Maz, Dick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best and don't settle. Premier Pet Supply is the best pet store in Michigan, hands down. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. They got 13 Metro Detroit locations and over 60 brands of food. Crazy, right? Lowest prices and curbside home delivery. So Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit www.premierpetsupply.com.
All right, welcome into Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Everything. We are here every night, 8 to 10 p.m. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button for us. Looking down right now, we're at 69 likes.
Nice.
Let's get to 75, Bill. Let's get those things up. Appreciate you guys all for tuning in. First of all, first comment I want to read here real quick. Someone said, where's Cats at?
Don't bring up that name.
Just want to respond. I think Cats is scared to come to Woodward Nights. Scared of the truth.
He knows I won't give him any time.
Yeah,
even though I'm giving him time right this moment.
He's scared of the truth.
The only cat that needs to stay hot is the DeBrincat.
DeBrincat.
I could use him to get a not one here in the third, but I'm just happy the wings are staying hot. That's a bar.
Tyler Chavez said Cats is cash.
That's a bar.
That's a bar.
Nice one, Nick.
Cats
How about, by the way,
chat,
Cash. You with me? Michigan fans in the chat. National championship. If the Lions. If Michigan makes it to the Natty Championship, and this came up, we were having a conversation about how they throw octopuses on the ice to the players get kicked or the fans get kicked out. Michigan makes the national championship. Michigan fans throw cheeseburgers on the field. Cheeseburgers at halftime.
I think you do it not at halftime.
Troll. Just during the game.
At the end of the game.
At the end.
You don't want to delay the game. You don't want to mess Michigan's momentum up.
Yeah, it would be weird. Like we don't want to. It'd be weird to suspend your coach a couple games or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways,
another comment here. I know we're getting to some comments here. Paul Thomas said, "Booner, that's no joke because you both are real, actual expert handicappers. Cats might be a handicapper. I probably have a better record than Cats, and I'm not an expert handicapper. I just don't lose, and I just have fun with it.
Is that a handicap of 0? Like
you're talking about golf. No, I think handicapper like handicapping like betting games. Like an expert handicapper. Yeah. All right, let's get into this here though. Lions rookies. We just talked about Brad Holmes drafting. Like, what is his plan going forward?
Yeah.
So far this year, I do truly believe that Brad Holmes this last year has drafted his best draft class. Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch. Those 4 guys right there alone, I think you can sit down and take a step back and say, what NFL GM drafts 4 dudes that are starters on your football team, on a 9-3 football team the next year? Brad Holmes went out and did that. These rookies are some of the best in the NFL right now at each of their positions. And they're continuing to dominate and getting better. He has been elite at drafting. I think this is his best one so far. I know we mentioned some of those guys, Broder, that aren't playing, obviously developing, whether it's Broderick Jones or Hendon Hooker. But
Broderick Martin,
sorry.
Got you.
Or Hendon Hooker. But these 4 guys alone, Broder.
Yeah, 100%.
Change your football team.
And imagine if, hypothetically, in a year or two, Hendon Hooker's your franchise quarterback. Woo. That definitely puts it over the top. But it's hard to imagine. I don't know if Jack Campbell would be a Pro Bowler, but the other 3 are in the running, and you never know what kind of end of the season Jack will have. But you're right. Remember on draft the draft nights when they were having first and second round that first weekend. There were a lot of skepticism, and I'll admit it took me 24 hours to sort of grasp really what was happening, but it was all the drafting a running back at 12, drafting a linebacker at 18, a tight end at 34, and then Brian Branch. I don't think there was anyone in Detroit who wasn't happy about that. The fact that we went back up and got him was huge, but it's all turning out. You can see the plan that they had in their head when they went and got those guys, because we're seeing it out on the field in their very first season. We're seeing what Brian Branch can do on the defense, and we actually just saw Jack Campbell, really what he can be. But what Jahmyr Gibbs is doing on offense and Sam Laporta is doing on offense, they slid right into that top-ranked offense and just continued to elevate it, both with their talent, but also their toughness and what they bring. They're the perfect fits for this team. They're not divas. He's not just a receiving tight end. He's not just a blocking tight end. He can do it all. Jahmyr Gibbs can run between the tackles. He can also bust it outside for a 50-yard gain. It was a really great draft looking back. a good draft of many of Brad Holmes, but this might go down as the best.
Yeah, in Honolulu BS here said more than 3 starters, 3 of them, or more than starters, 3 of them are darn near Pro Bowlers.
Yeah,
and that's just a fact. Like he went out and got some dudes. You just came off finishing the season 8-2, and you already had a great football team. You knew heading into the next year, and you and I think us as fan base and as a franchise, you were sitting there like, I just hope with that number 2 or that 8th pick and that 16th pick that Brad just gets, at least one. Maybe you were thinking in this draft 2 guys that can help this football team right away. That's, at least in my head, that's what I thought. I was like, I just hope Brad can get 2 guys that he could throw in the starting lineup, whether it's another weapon or if it's someone on defense to help. And he went out there and got 4 guys, 4 starters in the first 2 rounds that instantly made an impact. And some of those guys are going to be Pro Bowlers this year. I think that's when has a GM? I saw someone in the chat put it there. Maybe he might be a top 5 GM right now, and I will put him in that. I will fight to the death. Yeah. For Brad Holmes as a top 5 GM in the NFL right now. Yeah. Because he dominates. He has dominated building this team. Yeah. It is dominated.
The only question marks are middle of the season, what moves he's made or hasn't made at the trade deadline. But I think we still need to give him time, depending on where he's at in his timeline. The eyes are playing clock that D-Mac had. Brad's got a clock of his own, and there's a reason he has or hasn't done things. So we'll see. You got to throw Colby Sorsdale in that mix too. He hasn't played the best in these last couple games, but he's filled in when they've really needed him. There have been injuries to this line, and Colby Sorsdale, it was a right tackle at William and Mary. He's come in and had to step in playing guard, both guard positions actually, right and left, and he's done fine. I don't think they expected this out of him his rookie year. He's just going to continue to get better. He gets to grow up with Penei Sewell.
Dude, Colby Sorsdale is a 5th-round pick out of William and Mary.
Yeah.
Think about that. And Brad, they went out there and scouted him, and they could see the pure talent and go, this guy he could play. Out of William and Mary. And they went and got him in the 5th round.
He started, 60-plus games in his career. Like, he's a veteran. He's like, when seniors come out of college basketball, I think of Villanova seniors, Jalen Brunson, who's on TV right now. It's like there's a level of toughness, a level of maturity that they play the game with. And I think that is what Colby Sorsdale is. This isn't going to be his flagship season, but he's going to be one of those guys. Again, he gets to grow up with Penei Sewell. How great could that be?
I think in 2 years, one of these guys retires or moves on from the game. Yeah, and Colby's just learned under some of them.
Crazy,
under
right?
a Frank Ragnow, under a Graham Glasgow.
That's
Jonah
a great
Jackson.
That's an underrated mentor, Graham.
Penei Sewell. Like, you're learning Taylor Decker, literally under the best in the NFL right now, and you already have the talent to go out there and start some football games and fill in. And I know he struggled a little bit at times, but just think about the longevity, like in the next 2 years for Colby. When you need a guy to step up. When we're like, this year, at least for me, it's like, hey, they may need to draft an offensive lineman in the first round to
That's fine,
some guys.
Let's
you
do
have
it.
that, and you have Colby in the year or two.
Yeah.
So like you're built like that's just smart moves from Brad Holmes, Broder.
What's your take? And my guy, the keys to wisdom, doesn't appear he's a Jameson Williams fan or a fan of JMO being taken at the 12th pick 2 years ago. But are you cool with that pick?
Yeah, I still am. Obviously, you could argue, that being the 12th overall pick, you would like some production, but you did take him 12th overall, knowing that he had the ACL injury, knowing that it's going to take a little bit for him to get back, and obviously the suspension kind of was out of nowhere. Yeah, but he's one of the most explosive players in the NFL. Yeah, he Tim Twentyman said it today. He might not even be able to count on one hand the amount of players that have the speed and the skill that Jameson Williams has.
That's what I've been saying.
And that ceiling, we talked about the ceiling with him. The highest on the team when it comes to talent.
Arguably the highest in the NFL. Yeah. I'm dead serious. And I think that's worth the risk at 12. That's worth, if anything, you take him in the first round, you get that extra year on his contract so he can get healthy. You didn't expect him to miss the beginning of this year. And as we've come to learn, it should have only been 2 games and still kind of silly. But he's one of those, he's a game changer, and he's still not even close to his potential, not just his own potential, but his potential in this offense. We've seen it little by little, Ben Johnson start to incorporate in some new routes, some new schemes, some new things out of J-Mo, and he's got that he wants that ball. Like, he was talking about that after the game. He wants to get that ball. He's one of those that can absolutely change an entire offense, at least change how you have to game plan against them. So I'm cool with that J-Mo pick. Of course, looking back on it, there are always guys. Actually, I meant to say this. I've sort of paired him with Christian Watson. Christian Watson was a receiver that the Packers took with the pick swap, right? Like, we moved up to the Packers number 12, and they took our number 30 or 34, like the end of the first or beginning of the second. Christian Watson might be injured too. He was looking really good for the Packers. So both of those players have had some injury struggles, but man, the ceiling of Jameson Williams, totally worth it.
Yeah, I know it sucks. Like you might have gotten someone that could have impacted instantly. I do get that, but the way if you're going to sit up here and tell me that the worst pick out of Brad Holmes' tenure
was J-Mo?
Is Jameson Williams at number 12, a guy with some of the most talent, and you still have him for the next 3 years, and he potentially he's just starting to break out and show you what he can do. I mean, I'm going to laugh at you in the face and be like, all right, if that's the worst pick in 3 years and you have all of these potential future Pro Bowlers, what are we doing here? You're going to miss. If that's your miss, if Jameson Williams is your miss.
Can I ask you one last question that I think I know the answer to, but I just got to answer it again. Are you still comfortable with Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta versus Jalen Carter? Going back to that number 6 pick.
Yes.
You don't even hesitate at all.
Yes. You have the number 2 offense in the NFL, and those two are an extremely big part of it. You can build this defense up, and just like those stats that I have written down on this paper, 4 of the last 5 Super Bowl winners were outside the top 10 when it comes to defense.
Woo!
And I do get, you're having issues with the defensive line. But you have Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most talented running backs in the NFL, of the whole NFL, and one of the best tight ends in the NFL at the moment.
Yes.
Right now, Gibbs is actually second in yards per carry in the NFL to go along with all those things that you just said about him. Just to clarify one thing, the J-Mo trade was with the Vikings for 32 and 34 on that. And then, boom, 4-1. The Buffalo Sabres finally get one in the goal, but Wings still up 4-1.
Wings up 4-1. Love to see it. Booner, will you tell them before we come back and we go a little around the NFL talk a little 3/4 of the way through predictions for awards?
Yes, we're gonna lock those. We're gonna talk about them, break those down. I'm gonna tell you guys about the Lions pregame show.
Yeah, buddy.
Make sure you guys tune in. That is with the Jeff Iafrate, Morning Woodward Show host. With different weekly special guests. This week, I believe, it's actually Booner again. I will be on the desk again with Jeff. Away game, I'll be up there Sunday, 9:30 to 11:30. Make sure you guys tune in on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. And then go check out Hamlin Pub after that. If you ever wanted a bar where you are a regular, we have just a place for you. Head over to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everyone is a regular. Whether you're enjoying half-off pizza on Thursdays, or game day specials available during all Michigan sports and NFL games. I'm going to tell you what real quick. I'm going to go off script here. Went to Hamlin Pub for the college football stuff last Saturday. It was unbelievable. Nick was there. He'll tell you the same thing. Those wings right there, I had those. Some of the best wings I've ever had. Hamlin Pub was unbelievable. We went to the one in Richmond. I am telling you guys have to get out to Hamlin Pub. Make sure you guys go check it out and visit a location today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Do you have football on the brain? Well, fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year is already awesome. Fall is also the perfect time to shop for your home and auto insurance, so shop it like a pro at Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too, so ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. If you're on YouTube, woodwardsports.com. On the YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like button. We're at 78. Let's get this baby up to 100 here by 9:30. We've got a lot to go here. Second hour of the show.
This is where it gets fun.
Oh, yeah. I feel like
we've just been breaking down the lines. I'm going to have a little fun. See where all these players stack up around the league.
It's interesting, too, because some of these awards, it feels like every other week they mix and like, there's some that like the favorites have been up there, but like Coach of the Year has been moving outside of Dan Campbell, moving a ton. NFL MVP has been moving a ton. It has not been super consistent. There has been a lot. Defensive Player of the Year, that's been moving a lot. A lot of people, your guy is the favorite right now. So there's a lot of things happening here. I do want to see. Kind of even looking forward to the next couple of years. I want to, as we go through these awards, I want to see from the chat and from us in the room who we think on the Detroit Lions can start competing for some of these awards. Because we do, at the end of the day, I know we want some guys in these awards. We do have a really young football team. Yeah. Like if you go look at some of these guys, like the Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons has been in the league for a couple years now. Myles Garrett for a while, T.J. Watt for a while, Josh Allen now he's kind of making his statement and he's been in the league for a little bit.
Making a run.
So I want to know kind of who we feel like can be the hiccups. The hiccups. He has a hiccup a day.
3
a day.
Yeah. Chronic hiccups every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chronic.
Like
Chronic, baby.
Dr. Dre.
All right. I like
Snoop D-O double G.
Smokeless.
Different kind of chronic.
He went smokeless.
Who?
Snoop Dogg.
He did, but wasn't it just for like a genius promotion?
It was great. Yeah, it's like a fireplace thing that doesn't shoot.
Smokeless
the smoke
fireplace
like goes up. They've made like this thing to where the smoke goes up instead of coming out at people.
Genius
marketing move, by the way.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He's
really
a lead at it.
Did he?
No, he did not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, zero chance.
Yeah, as a Pope Catholic.
I don't think he can stop.
No.
I don't think he can. All right, let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's start with the MVP, Super Bowl MVP, NFL regular season MVP. At the moment right now, Dak Prescott plus 300. Brock Purdy. This actually just has switched because yesterday we talked about it. In second yesterday was Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy has jumped Jalen Hurts. He is currently now tied with Dak Prescott at plus 300. Jalen Hurts is plus 350. Mahomes plus 650, Tua, and then Lamar Jackson.
What's Jake Browning? Just kidding. Just
minus 200. He did. Shout out to him. He did have
he had an MVP performance,
career game yesterday.
That's a Heisman moment.
When you see a backup do that, he just became a backup for the rest of his career.
And as we can see from Chad Henne, that's a career many would like.
Make a lot. He just made a lot of money for it. He made a lifelong.
Matt Flynn.
Yep. That's all it takes for some of these backups. Just to have one big game and then you're a backup for life and you make $20 million.
Did I tell you I changed my MVP? I said Brock Purdy yesterday, right?
Oh, okay.
I changed. I actually the opposite direction that you just told. I had to sleep on it a little bit. But as I was just thinking how valuable Jalen Hurts is to his team. And they would be nowhere without him. And if he weren't playing, that team is a below 500 team. I still think the 49ers are a good team. Lamar Jackson is actually my third for a similar reason as Jalen Hurts. Without Lamar Jackson, that team is trash.
Yeah.
So I'm going Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I think you can. I'm just going to go basically the top 3 that it is right now, though. I think Dak right now is in the lead, and I think he owns this award right now. If he goes out there and performs,
he's playing like it,
and he plays a tough schedule, so if he goes out there and performs, he will win the MVP, in my opinion, which is crazy. I never thought I would be in a world where Dak Prescott would go out there and win the MVP.
He'll
That
find
is
a way
crazy.
to lose it.
And then at the other side of it, I never thought I was going to be live in a world where Brock Purdy goes out there and wins the MVP. And right now they're the two favorites. I said it yesterday, Broder. They both kind of have identical stats. Dak Prescott, 70.1 completion percentage. Brock Purdy, 70.2. I think my thing's going here. All right, I got it fixed. Passing yards, Dak Prescott, 3,200. Brock Purdy, 3,200 basically. Yards a game, Dak has them by 4 yards per game. Touchdowns, Dak Prescott 26, Brock Purdy 30 or 23. They both have 6 interceptions, and they both have the same exact QBR by like 0.1.
Wow.
So I think these two right now are at the top, 1A, 1B, and they're fighting for it. But to
Can't
your
deny
point,
that.
I do think that Jalen Hurts, he is very, very valuable to that team.
Yeah.
To me, it's like last year, his numbers are like, he's a little different. Like, remember last year before he got hurt, I picked him to win the MVP last year. I remember we kept doing these pregame shows, and I kept telling Maz and Jeff, hey, he's going to win the MVP. He's going to win it. He was the favorite. He ended up becoming the favorite, and they were like, oh, Booner, you might have been right. And then he gets hurt. I don't think, it doesn't feel like he's having that big year that he had last year, so that's why I take him out.
Fair. I can't argue with that point. I think both of us have points that are valid, and it's just however the voters decide to go. And to bring it back to the Lions a little bit, and the Keys to Wisdom said he called out. He made a good point. Without Goff, Detroit is 3-9 instead of 9-3. I 100% agree, which is why I think if the Lions end up with 12 or 13 wins, he's in the top 5. What? I'm not saying he's going to win it. He's not going to win the MVP. Chill out, everybody. Jared Goff is not going to win the MVP.
Right, he's
going to finish in the top 5 if the Lions have 12 or 13 wins.
All right, I'll just make sure. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, no, hey, double down. I got you.
He is like top 5 in a lot of these categories.
Of course.
And he's kind of worked his way around that. Offensive player of the year, I think we can all agree on this one.
Maybe.
As of right now.
Fast.
Cheetah.
Super fast.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And I'm still on that thing to where if he keeps going off, he gets 2,000 plus, and he gets like 16, 17, 18 touchdowns.
He's the first wide receiver in that MVP conversation, or the first non-quarterback in that MVP conversation, without a doubt.
MVP award.
Yeah.
Especially if Dak starts to slip up, Brock Purdy slips up.
Yeah.
This is the year for it because the quarterbacks aren't going crazy this year.
100%.
Give it to Tyreek.
Hopefully in the future, that's an Amon-Ra St. Brown award, something that he vies for. Maybe even Hendon Hooker, Jared Goff, whoever's next in line. But Booner, what about defensive player of the year?
You know where I'm at.
You're going TJ Watt.
I'm going, and I get you this argument. Micah Parsons is the leader right now, but I mean, dude, if we just break stats down, TJ Watt beats him in every single stat category. I don't think he loses in one category, and that's why I'm a little confused on why he's ahead. I'm going to die on the hill that TJ Watt for the last 3 years has been the best defensive player in the NFL. Think he is again this year. He single-handedly has his team being over 500 every single year.
Fair. Another one you can't deny. I've got Myles Garrett as the leader. Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons. All of them are game changers. To me, Myles Garrett's done some special things this year, and he's really – that defense is incredible, and it's because of him. And I saw him – I can't get the vision of him actually beating the Colts on his own out of my head. I think it was the Colts. I guess that vision's not so clear. But, yeah, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, hopefully Aiden Hutchinson one day.
I really would just like I just want someone to break down to me why TJ Watt is not the leader right now in sports books. I don't get it. Like if you just take any category, stat category when it comes to a defensive lineman or a defender, he is number 1.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. And
they just don't want to give it another family award.
Yeah, I guess
Too many Watts.
He's won it a couple times now too, so maybe it's like that LeBron James MVP thing.
I think this next one is one that you could preface with, we all have to have the exact same answer. But I'm actually curious who would be number 2 and 3. Your offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive rookie of the year.
Well, CJ
Stroud. 2 or 3. This is tough. Because a lot of people have been saying Sam Laporta.
I have 2 Lions.
And Jahmyr Gibbs.
I have Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta in that order. After this game against the Saints, you can't. It's hard to deny how important Sam Laporta is on offense. Granted, he probably won't have the same stats as some wide receivers. I haven't even broken that down, but I mean, talk about his value to this offense. Something that wasn't expected. He's setting historical rookie records across the entire NFL for tight ends. He's in conversations with some of the best receivers in the league for some of those stats. It's hard to keep him off that list.
It is. I'm trying to look here. I want to see, compared to rookies, where he stands. And I think out of all rookies, in yards when it comes to receiving yards. I think he's third right now.
Yeah, it's
behind
close.
Puka and
Zay Flowers?
No, not
Tank
Zay
Dell?
Flowers. Tank Dell.
I see Tank Dell I would have loved to see in this mix. Unfortunately, he's probably out for the season, if not the next couple games. Could throw maybe Jordan Addison in there. Bijan Robinson hasn't done it for me. He'll probably be in the mix, but I don't know. Jeez. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a really good final 5 games down the stretch.
And I do think Jahmyr Gibbs has had a better season. I truly do. Than Bijan?
Yes.
Yeah. He's came on the scene, and he's like, after those first couple games when he came back from injury and they started incorporating him more, he's been a different player.
Yeah.
He's been one of the best to me, a top 10 running back in the NFL. So instantly you're like, yes, he should be in that conversation.
Yeah.
I think instantly. What's the next one here?
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, man.
Jalen Carter.
Odds have changed on this a lot, too.
What are the odds? Jalen Carter, Devon Witherspoon. I have Brian Branch at number 3, but it could be.
He's fourth in the odds right now.
Okay.
Will Anderson is second in the odds. I don't know. I think Jalen Carter just wins it. I don't think it's like a I think he's minus 180, but I think it's just his award at this point.
Comeback Player of the Year?
He's been slowing down a little bit, though.
He has. I think the only person who can catch him.
Trouble in Paradise.
Is
crying
Witherspoon.
on the sideline, too.
Yeah.
That was Trouble in Paradise.
True.
Trouble in Paradise.
He was crying. He was going through it, dude.
True.
He definitely was.
Comeback Player of the Year, Tua. Russell. Damar. Josh Dobbs.
Damar Hamlin is still minus 400.
I know.
Are you serious?
I swear. I don't understand it. I don't.
It's fine.
Russell Wilson was the name that I added to this list.
He's
Everything's going to be
I don't like
fine.
Russell. He's not my favorite quarterback in the league, but he was so bad last year.
I'm still on the Tua bandwagon for this award.
Yeah.
Give it to Tua.
I dig that.
Russell's had a pretty good year. I mean, I think the Broncos are going to fall off.
Dude, Tua almost quit playing. He almost
Just
couldn't play
give that
football.
guy in Buffalo an SB.
What? I'm with you on that.
Just give him an SB.
Give him an SB.
An SB. Oh, an SB.
Give him an SB.
Gotcha.
He doesn't need to win any awards.
Let Tua Tagovailoa get that award. Give him
Fair.
an award, man.
Should we open up next segment with Coach of the Year conversation?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Because there's something. There's been a mix.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do power rankings, and then we're gonna hit out mailbag.
All right, let's hit it. When we come back, we're gonna talk Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year. Few other guys with it. Broder, tell us about Dispo.
During the break, go hit Dispo out in Romeo. They're open till midnight tonight. Actually, every night except for Sunday. They have a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere. Flowers, oils, butters, things, all different kinds of cannabis products. They got it all. It's the first ever cannabis mall of its kind. Located off Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road. Dispo Romeo again. Open late Monday through Saturday till midnight. They're open Sunday, just not till midnight. Does it get any better than that? Nope. DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
How would you like to win a 100K Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and win. Register at drinkcintron.com and purchase Cintron at your local Meijer store. It is the healthier energy drink with great taste, so you can look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Cintron. Enter now at drinkcintron.com/Vegas. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, welcome in to Woodward Nights, baby, on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys locking in. Beautiful Tuesday night.
Beautiful.
There's no NFL on right now. There's some NBA preseason, or not preseason, in-season tournament. And the Wings are up 4-1, I believe, still right now.
And on a power play.
In
Just
in
did
Buffalo.
not score on the power play. Just got a little sign that said Larkin was not on the bench. So I'll try to learn more and keep you boys posted.
Look at the man, the myth, the legend, Nick, Detroit Mario, Koloff. Freddie Felt?
Freddie said any shows recording there Friday. I believe we're all going to be here Friday, correct? Or at Dispo?
At Dispo?
At Dispo or at the studio? At the studio, I
think he thinks at the Dispo.
We usually find out day of.
Yeah, at least, we're always at the studio. We don't have any
this is my
remote
home.
shows. There may be a couple shows, though, at Dispo Romeo. I believe.
Freddie Felt 3-3 coming into town?
I believe he
coming
is.
up from Indiana?
There's a rumor he has. There's a rumor he has a couple. What is it called? The hockey things.
Sweaters.
He has a sweater for me.
Sweaters.
He might have a sweater for me.
Wow. So you have a yard sale.
Made a little upper decky, eh?
Hey, there we go.
How about that,
dude? So there's some new names coming after Dan Campbell for this end of season award.
And I think there's actually a very good chance that, and I hate to say this.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
And I do think a lot of people will agree with me. There's a chance Dan Campbell ends up not winning this award.
There's a very real chance.
Even if they win 12 games or 13 games, there are some dudes that can win this. And it's shocking.
I think if he wins 13 games.
Jason's over there.
Because I called it. He's not going to win.
I think if he wins 13 games,
he's not gonna win.
he should get it. I think if he wins 12, you can have a conversation.
It's going to come down to two coaches, I think.
Who do you think?
It's going to come down. Obviously,
I'm going to guess one here.
We all know D'Amico Ryans is the one that where if they end up doing it, but Shane Steichen and Indy, if they end up taking Indy to the playoffs and he ends up somehow winning that division, which Trevor Lawrence just got hurt with the high ankle sprain, so the Colts right now are in play to win that division. If they win that division and he takes his team with Gardner Minshew, there's gonna be some sort of.
It's a great stash out of Shane Steichen. That is a great, not Shane Steichen, Gardner Minshew.
It is. It's a bit. And in the sports books right now, these have moved a lot because Dan Campbell was a heavy favorite a couple weeks ago.
He's a heavyweight.
He is now plus 200. D'Amico Ryan plus 250. Mike McDaniel plus 600.
Jesus,
and Shane Steichen plus 700. So right now it's basically a race between D'Amico Ryans and Dan Campbell. Whatever happens with that, I still think though that, like you said, 13 wins, they could still get there. Just don't be surprised if the awards come out and they end up giving it to D'Amico if they win that. If they somehow go win that.
Think of the playoff. I mean, the way that the Houston Texans are winning games, so they can get to the playoffs. I'm totally okay with that conversation. And Shane Steichen too, who's not my favorite. He's so different than Dan Campbell. I actually don't want to say he's not my favorite coach. He's a character. You see that one tweet or that when he was mic'd up saying Jesus criminy, like, oh goodness gracious,
yes.
he's a mess on the sideline, which is kind of funny. It's totally different than Dan Campbell. But
it's weird. The two Philly coaches that went to Arizona and there, just two weird guys.
I know, right?
Just weird dudes, man.
Right, but well respected. That Colts team, I really like that Colts team.
Yeah.
Like, I know Jonathan Taylor's out, but Zach Moss is a very reliable running back. He's a starting type of running back who's filling in for Jonathan Taylor. But then that wide receiver group, I think it's one of my favorite young groups in the league with Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce. And I know they got some other guys sprinkled in there, but I love those three.
They've formed a pretty good young team.
Yes.
And it happened very, very fast.
Yeah.
Nick, what's up, man?
Former Wolverine Kwity Paye coming on for the Colts as of late.
Kwity
Paye on that D-line.
Come on.
Little update on Larkin here for you. I saw the replay. He got checked in the back between the numbers into that wall. Did not look good on replay. Just want to get that out there for the chat. Back
he got
to you
hit from
boys.
behind?
Yeah. No, didn't look good.
Not good.
Not good.
Hopefully he's all right.
If only we had like one of the best hockey players of all time joining the team.
Imagine that. All right, let's do this. Let's actually hit an early break, so we have a longer segment here. When we come back, we're gonna do our NFL power rankings.
It's time.
We're gonna hit them.
like Mehmet Okur.
I'm excited.
It's time.
I told you before the show, Broder, I think a lot of people's NFL power rankings right now are going to look very, very similar. If you've been consistent the last about month with these teams, which everyone should be if you know ball. Ball knowers, yes. And I think this week a lot of people's are going to look very, very similar.
Yeah,
so,
but there are just a couple in there. It's
tweaks.
the order you have. We'll get to them, but the order you have in the middle and at the end of the power
Yes.
rankings. We'll
All
see.
right.
I'm excited.
Let me tell you guys about Big Boy. Wintertime
Tell
in
'em.
Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back. The classic lumberjack or Santa Fe garden. Also new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. Top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop over by your local Big Boy today.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's hot chicken sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand, you offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They got the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. You just got to go to their new dealership on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile Road. Check out Les Stanford. Also in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com.
All right, welcome in to Woodward Nights, baby, on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're on woodwardsports.com, we appreciate it. Yeah. But if you're on the YouTube, hit that like button for us. We're at 85. Let's get up to 100 here before the end of this segment. And we can kind of sit there and get to 115 before the show is over. Let's do this, though, Broder.
Yeah.
We've got a short amount of time to get our NFL power rankings in. I'll let you go first with this one.
Ooh.
Break your power rankings down for us.
Break your power rankings. I don't have a graphic today.
See what you have. No graphic?
Do you have a graphic?
I do.
Do yours. I'll get mine over to Jalen right now. Do your power ranking.
Perfect. Jalen, if you want to throw mine up whenever you are ready. Booners. Week 14 NFL Power Rankings. There it is. I'll start from the bottom and I will go up. Just missing the cut to me. I did have the Green Bay Packers missing the cut, Broder. I know a lot of people. It was tough for me. It was between the Packers and the Colts. Didn't know who to go with. But the Colts, as we spoke about already today with Shane Steichen, they have kind of taken that leap. They have they have been dominating the last few games. And that's with their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So I had to put the Colts in there just with their recent wins. Packers, they have looked good. They won 3 straight games. They have looked very, very well. Jordan Love, if I'm being honest, is starting to scare me a little bit.
He's starting to come into his own a little bit.
I'm going to do something when we come for tomorrow. What I'll do, I want to get his last 3 games and kind of throw his stats up on the screen and just look and see if we should be worried at all. Because he's starting to come into his own, like you said. I had the Bills out at number 11 or number 12 and the Rams at number 13. Just sitting there creeping. Maybe a chance to make the playoffs still. Number 9, I had the Texans. They did beat the Broncos 22-17. The Broncos, to me, they were on that 5-game win streak at that point, and the Texans went and dominated them and ended that game. So, and I know the Broncos had a chance to win at the end. Texans just keep finding a way to win. At number 8, this is where I had a problem with the Jags. I know the Jags lost and the Chiefs lost. I didn't know where to put these 2 teams. I could not figure out where to put these 2 teams, especially after these 2 losses. The Chiefs losing to the Packers on the road 27-19. Brutal loss.
Tough one.
The Chiefs, to me, they just don't look like this normal Chiefs team that we're used to, and that's why I dropped them all the way down to 20 or down to 8th. And then at 7, I did go the Jags.
Interesting.
Someone commented on my Twitter and was like, "Why the Jags?" They did lose 34-31 in overtime versus a backup quarterback. But if Trevor Lawrence doesn't go down, they would easily win that football game, and they're going to be sitting there at 9-3. So I do think, like, if Trevor ends up not being a little long-term issue, this is still one of the best teams in football. If they would have won yesterday's game, they would be at the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
So they were literally that close with the backup quarterback to being the 1 seed in the AFC.
Interesting.
At number 6, I have the Detroit Lions, 9-3. Obviously, the Saints win. I didn't move them at all. I moved around my 4 and 5 a little bit, but the Detroit Lions, I know it was a good win, good road win. I just think, and I told you this, Broder, I think there's these segments here within the top 10, or what is the word I'm looking for? Trying to think. I think there's like these 3 different sections here.
Like tiers.
Tiers, yes. I think the top tier is obviously the 49ers, Eagles, and I would even throw the Ravens in that. And then I think the second tier is the Dolphins, Cowboys, Lions, and Jags. Or not Jags, Chiefs. And then I think there's that next tier of teams that can make the playoffs and maybe win one. At number 5, I had the Cowboys. They beat the Seahawks 41-35. They have been winning games, fellas. I do get the Cowboys have been winning games. Go look at their strength of schedule. They have not beaten a team with a record over 500.
That's terrible.
They've beaten 2 teams with an exact record of 6-6. They have not beaten a team with a record over 500. They've lost to every team they've played over 500. And yes, they've blown teams out, but when they've played a very good team, they've lost every time.
But
that's why I have them.
They have an MVP candidate.
They do,
and Defensive Player of the Year candidate. You could argue CeeDee Lamb. You throw him an Offensive Player of the Year candidate
just
too.
because you have an MVP candidate and Defensive Player of the Year candidate doesn't make you a great football team immediately.
All right.
If they had both, if it was that serious that they have both, they would be the best team in the NFL right now.
Good point.
Number 4, the Dolphins. They dominated the Commanders 45-15. This is the best offense in the NFL right there with the Lions, with Tyreek, and that defense is starting to come into their own a little bit. Ravens, bye week. I kept them at number 3. And then obviously I flip-flopped the Eagles and the 49ers. The 49ers are the number 1 team. Shout out to Lucas too, by the way. Last week before this game, he said the 49ers were his number 1 team, and they proved it.
Yeah, but they weren't last week.
They showed that they were.
They are this week.
They showed that they were.
They are.
Ball nowhere.
Speculation.
All right, Broder. How was mine?
I thought it was pretty good.
All right.
Before I give it a grade, I want everyone in the chat to give it a grade. Also, before I give mine, so you don't have anything to compare it to and skew your judgment. I want to see what Booner's is graded. I would probably give it. I give it a A-. We're pretty similar. There are a few flip flops.
Can I grade my own?
Of course.
I put it in the chat.
Hey! Well, here we go. Here's my power ranking coming in at number 10. I believe you had the same one. The Indianapolis Colts.
Yes, sir.
Indianapolis Colts. We just talked about that core of wide receivers. Kwity Paye, I didn't even think about it. He's coming along. I just like what they're doing. I like Minshew and Shane Steichen, baby. Jacksonville Jaguars. So last week, I only had him as an 8 seed last week. I bumped him down to 9. I was really considering taking him out of the top 10. I think just around this conversation around Florida State and college football playoff, I was like, all right, no quarterback. They're kind of toast right now, which they are. But their defense against the Bengals, their defense did not play well. Josh Allen's coming along, but they gave up a ton of points, ton of yards to our boy Jake Browning. So Jacksonville Jaguars, number 9. Houston Texans. This was a jump for me. Where did I have them? They were outside. Yeah, I moved them outside of my top 10 last week after they lost. I forget who they lost to. But they lost. They're moving up to number 8. I just really like what they're doing. They're led by C.J. Stroud. Their defense is getting much stronger. Not just Will Anderson. Derek Stingley. He's coming along. He's playing like that cornerback that they drafted. Was it 2nd or 4th? Was it the Kuda year? Derek Stingley was a pretty high draft pick out of LSU. He's starting to play really well. We got the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs dropped down from my number 4 seed to number 7. You can't justify putting them much higher. Yes, they have Patrick Mahomes. The defense is playing well, but they went and they laid that egg against the Packers. Mm-hmm. I gotta bring them down for that. And then this, I think, is where we flip, where ours are a little bit different. So I've got the Lions at number 5 over the Miami Dolphins at number 6, and then I have the Dallas Cowboys ahead of the Lions at number 5. At number 4, excuse me. I believe in the Lions more than I believe in the Cowboys, but I would just be a slappy if I didn't acknowledge how good whatever team they're playing, how good the Cowboys have been playing as of late. I mean, the Lions didn't exactly blow out New Orleans or Green Bay or Chicago. Dallas is taking care of business. And like I said about a couple minutes ago, MVP candidate, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is playing like his best season of his young career. So I don't know. I don't trust them, but they're my number 4 seed. And I do love the Detroit Lions there at number 5. They just got a little more to prove. That defense is preventing me from putting them in that top tier with the 49ers, the Eagles, the Ravens. But we had the same 1, 2, 3, right? Ravens,
yes.
Eagles, 49ers.
Our 4, 5, 6 were mixed up. And then obviously the bottom of our list. I want to do this. I'll give you your grade.
Do it.
I don't want you to be mad. I'm going to give you an honest grade.
Okay.
A B+.
Okay.
And a couple points in the chat here. Bruce Bedrock. The Jags did defeat the Texans last week. And I do get the quarterback situation maybe because you want.
They have none.
Well, I'm saying with the Jags, I don't know if you want or maybe move them back because Trevor did end up
That's
getting
part
hurt.
of it. Yeah, that is part of it.
But they did go head-to-head, and so that's I kind of look at that. I do think like the Jags, they were a field goal away from being the number 1 seed. And then the other thing, obviously, I'm going to go at is the Cowboys. I know I had them at 5. I guess you know what? I'm going to take that back a little because I do think the Cowboys are a little high at 4, but I still like it's you can argue that because they have been playing very well. I just
you
think
have more faith in the Dolphins
than
I do. Actually, maybe faith isn't the right word. You think of the Dolphins probably like
higher.
how I think of the Cowboys.
Which I do think the Cowboys on a higher level. That's why I had them above the Lions. It's just something like when you look at the teams they played, I get they've won by a lot. It's just when you're not playing good football teams, and you lose to when you do play good football teams, those are your losses.
Yeah,
that's what worries me a little bit, and the Cardinals game too. So
I just can't stop thinking about that Dolphins. That
very similar list.
That video I saw, or was a tweet or something. They were talking about how the stadium's built, how it's designed, and the visiting sidelines can get up to 30 degrees hotter than the Dolphins sideline at their Miami stadium.
That is crazy.
Like that is a significant advantage.
Well, it's smart. When
way
you're
more than
stadiums.
Jameson Williams betting on college basketball.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's smart though when you're building these stadiums. Like some of these stadiums, like the Seahawks one, the Chiefs, like they're built for noise. Like those outdoor stadiums. I remember we read that article a couple months ago because we had that argument in regard. I think it might have been Lucas on the show. We had the argument in regards to that. But like some of these outdoor stadiums, they get built for noise.
Yeah,
and it's just crazy. Like the architect, like all
this gets built for heat.
And it's kind of wild. The Lions,
Stephen Ross, baby, something. Pride of Michigan.
Nick, what's up? Any update? I did text Gentry if you want an update.
4-2, Larkin back on the ice. He's
been
on the bench for the last 5 minutes, but he is on the ice now, trying to break off this power play and Buffalo comeback attempts. 4-2, Buffalo's on a power play. Keep you guys posted.
I was going to have an update for you. I texted Gentry and I said, what's going on with Larkin? And he just texted me twice, actually, back to back. He said, got hit, did not look good in the back, did not look good. And I said, is it a serious injury? He said, no, but he said it did not.
He just turned the puck over and we just got scored on.
Oh.
4-3.
Just let Larkin sit out for
bunch of hosers.
Yeah, no, and then he just texted me back and said he's back. So yeah, just let Larkin sit out. 4-3. That's brutal. We're gonna be fighting for wings. How much time's left?
We got 8:23 left in the third.
We'll probably be on air when that ends.
The biscuit in the basket.
Let's hit break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about. We're actually gonna do mailbag.
Yeah, we're gonna do mailbag.
Drop your questions here. I'm gonna put that in there. Drop your questions for us. We'll hit mailbag for you guys. Let me tell you guys about Lady Jane's, though. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It is award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams, an all-expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That is right. No expenses spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Listen, I might start this mullet journey here. Lady Jane's is going to help me do it. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like a landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party at Eastern Market, Shed number 5, and it's a bash. Starts at 9:30, runs up until game time. We got so much food, drinks, entertainment. It's all included. You just got to buy your ticket at bullseyeeventgroup.com. We'll see you there.
All right, welcome in to Woodward Nights, the final segment here with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. If you guys can, let's hit that like button. Let's get over 100 here. We're 9 away. Let's hit that for us. Final stretch. Couple more minutes left here. Maybe we'll go. Let's see how these questions come in. Let's see how they go because the Wings are still going. There's a couple minutes left of the Wings game. I wish we could see it. I want to get. Yeah, it's brutal. That's on ESPN Plus. That's brutal.
There's nothing plus about not being able to view it. That's the ESPN negative.
It should always be on Bally and then for the national media.
I do think Anna Dua, what happened? What happened? What? Oh, okay, we good. We good. Eduardo O'Neill, mailbag. 2 things. We can't clinch a wild card with a win this weekend because of the loss to Seattle, but next week we can. If we go into Dallas and beat them by 10 plus, how would that make you feel for the playoffs?
I'll start with the first one. You guys can hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We came unplugged a little bit there. I apologize.
That's what happens in the nighttime.
I don't know what you guys missed, but hit that like button for us. Let's
Sometimes
get over
in the nighttime.
Let's get over 100.
Shit happens.
I do think they clinch a wild card or they clinch the playoffs within next week. I would love to see that happen. I saw them put out reports today of that yearly paper every week at the end of the year where it shows different scenarios for teams to clinch. I was very disappointed not to see the Lions on there, especially at 9-3. So I hope next week we get to see the Lions on that paper. But yes, the Dallas game to me determines a lot when it comes to this Lions team in the playoffs. That game will determine a lot. You're going to find out what this team's about.
Agreed. It's a really good test. It'll be the
scared me, I'm not going to lie.
Moly.
I've got a question for you here.
Do it.
Steve Wildes, will Bugs play, and what is the deal with him? Just straight up. What's the problem?
I'm going to be honest now. I don't know. I don't think anyone can really figure it out. It seems like it is something going on with him and the coaching staff or him and the organization. It's not injury. Every time I talk to him, he seems positive. Like it's not like he's got a bad attitude the few times that I've spoken to him, but I honestly couldn't even tell you. The biggest question is because we need him.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he playing if they need him? What's going on?
Tim did mention it on the heavies. They asked him about Bugs.
What did he say?
He mentioned that obviously going into the year and through training camp, it just felt like Benito Jones and some of these other guys were more consistent than Bugs, and that's what kind of hurt him was other guys being more consistent and reliable when it does come to playing. And
I get that at the beginning of this. That's probably why maybe has a healthy scratch at the beginning.
Yeah, but maybe that's just kind of continued a little bit to where they feel like they can trust in because when you're in these games, like who can you lean on and trust the most? Maybe they just don't have that trust in Bugs.
A hard time believing Bugs is that bad.
I don't think he's that bad. I think it's just more so like you can only have a couple D tackles: Benito, Aleem,
Broderick, Levi. Like it's a merry-go-round of freaking healthy scratches.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know where you're from, but there aren't many things healthy about scratching.
He was good last year too, man.
I know.
He made an impact. Hopefully he does that though these next couple of weeks. I would find it very hard to believe Isaiah Buggs is not playing the next week.
Yeah, and to sort of continue on what Steve Wild said, like Benito Jones has done some things this year, done some better things, but respectfully, he can't be your top D tackle.
No.
And he hasn't done anything spectacular enough where he's that much better than someone else.
Benito's a big fella.
He's huge, and he's been pretty good in the run, but like other than a Lee McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson, nobody's done anything.
Yeah,
let's just call
the
a spade
D tackle.
a spade.
That's maybe something to address this year.
Mailbag.
Which one?
You
are
got
you
one?
in? Which one are you?
Freddie
in?
Felt 3-3.
I was gonna hit William
above you. Oh, hit it.
All right. William said, "Is Brad Holmes just going to continue adding defensive players until the playoffs? Also, why hasn't DPJ gotten the ball yet? Do you think?" And then another one. Do you think Bruce will get a couple more sacks? I'll dissect this real quick.
Dissect.
Brad Holmes. Yes, I think this year in the draft you're going to see a lot of defense and maybe some offensive line. Offense is kind of already built. I do think there's going to be the side to where you see him build some defense in the free agency pool as well.
Yes.
But I do think a defense will be addressed a lot in the chat or in the draft. Also, DPJ, he's out there a lot. Just hasn't had targets.
And they're talking about him. He's going to get more and more involved in the offense.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell talked about that this week. I don't know if it's going to be 5, 6, 7 targets, but it's
couple at least.
Think a combination of like Jamison Williams / Josh Round, like in the 2 to 4 targets range, and I think he'll be actually important in the red zone.
Yeah, and Jared Goff, you do have to gain that trust.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing at a high level, and that offense has been, you do have to gain that trust. The last thing, Bruce, will Bruce have a couple more sacks against the Bears? I think he's going to, his
we'll have more snaps.
Snap increase is going to go up a lot. It's going to be a lot higher than 11, but maybe he does get another one. It's going to be, we're going to need him versus Justin Fields.
Definitely.
That's a fact.
Definitely.
All right,
Freddie Felt 3-3 mailbag. Who else is buying a ticket to the playoff game at Ford Field? Spoiler, I'll be there, Jackson. I'll be there. That's the last time I'll ever sing on the show. As you know, I don't care what price I have to pay to attend. You guys going to go to that playoff game?
Personally, I will not, just because I love doing these streams. I will. I feel like I think I might be the only one that has not missed a stream yet. So I will be at every stream. I'm going to be here.
Breaking the bank.
Stream King, they say.
I would love to be at Ford Field, but
100%.
The tailgate's winning for sure.
They gave the season ticket holders first priority. So
have you already put it in for?
I'll be in there. Yes, we did.
You got to break the bank.
Do you have to pay for it already?
Yeah,
How does that
they
work?
put it in, and then I believe it goes towards next season if it's like not to the second game, because we're gonna host one most likely, and then they give you the option for like all 3 games, I believe it was.
Okay, and you get your seat.
Yeah, I do get my seat.
That's sick. See, this
Shout
is the thing.
Shout out 345 Ford Field. Let's go, baby.
Freddie,
I can't believe I can even say that out loud. Let's go.
That is hype. Freddie, you guys know I'm a man of the people. All of the people that can't make the game, I will be doing a stream with whoever wants to, or whoever like our crew is. I will make sure I'm in that same exact spot I'm in, and I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. So I will be a man of the people. For the people who cannot attend the game, you guys tune into the stream and we'll watch the game together. With DMAC as well. I'm sure DMAC will be here. Spenny, I'm sure. We'll have a little squad. All right, let's do one more here real quick.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we can find one more. Where are we at here? Do you see one?
Not at the moment. I'll throw you a hypothetical that's kind of combining a couple things. Someone was talking about, was it Cam Boyer? Basically, it'd be nice to get Josh Allen from the Jaguars.
Oh my God!
Would you rather have Josh Allen?
Oh my gosh!
Quinnen Williams, or I'll throw a wrinkle in this, Aaron Donald next year.
Next year?
And this is not gonna Quinnen's now signed a deal with the Jets. Josh Allen.
I'm taking?
Yeah.
Give me Josh Allen. I want another edge rusher. I want another guy explosive like Aiden Hutchinson, a bookend edge rusher. We can live, if we have a Josh Allen, we can live with Benito, Aleem. We can draft another D tackle. You can go out there and maybe get someone in free agency. Yeah, just go get someone cheaper. But I would love me some Josh Allen here in Detroit. And I'm not talking about the quarterback either.
You know what I just thought of?
What's that?
Just a quick pivot, but perfect fit for Detroit and what we're drinking on. What about Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama?
He's gonna be like a top 15 pick.
I know. Can you move up? Lions move up?
Maybe. I don't
know if you would do it for a cornerback, but
he might even go top 10, right?
High stick Red Wings.
No.
2 minutes to go.
How much time's left? Actually,
151. I think it's just gonna be a stoppage.
Okay, I was gonna say, should we keep going until the
end? If it was on TV and we could see it, I'd say let's stay and react. But let's call
real quick. Another one here. Steve Wild said Daniil Hunter, get him in a free agency. That's another one I wouldn't mind. This is what has to happen real quick. I'm trying to stall for the Wings. I don't think we're going to be able to.
We're not.
This is what's going to happen though. They're going to sign someone in free agency and spend a lot of money, I think, on the defensive free agency, and they're going to end up re-signing a couple guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff. Things are going to start turning in the right direction. Brad's going to start spending some money. People, watch what happens next year. The Lions will be in the Super Bowl. If not this year, it will be next year. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Toodles.
We love all of the people. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure Morning Woodward Show 8 to 10. BDE to follow. E&E Heavyweights, and we'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Make sure you guys tell a friend
Nick Duncan,
and tune
yes.
in. Love you guys.
Nick Duncan, yes.